Have you ever felt it? That invisible chill in the air when someone enters the room? They smile, they greet you, they act kind, but deep down something in your gut whispers, "This person can't stand me." Sometimes hatred doesn't scream. It smiles, it offers help. It hides behind a handshake while quietly sharpening its knife. The most dangerous enemies don't attack you head-on. They applaud you while plotting your fall. And by the time you sense it, the damage is already done. You've felt that subtle shift before, when someone's presence just feels wrong. They're polite, charming even, yet your instincts tighten. You can't explain it, but you know. This isn't simple dislike. It's hatred, quiet, controlled, and disguised behind courtesy. Here's what makes hatred far more dangerous than anger. Anger is loud. You see it coming. The raised voice, the slammed door, the confrontation. You can defend yourself because it declares war openly. But hatred? Hatred is patient. It hides behind manners, nods, and smiles while silently preparing to sabotage you. This isn't paranoia. It's awareness, the kind Marcus Aurelius spoke of when he wrote, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." But before you can rise above an injury, you must recognize it. You have to see it before it strikes. Today, we'll uncover 9 unmistakable signs that someone doesn't just disagree with you, they despise you. These aren't abstract theories. They're real-world patterns, drawn from observation and experience. Pay close attention, because sign number 7 is the most dangerous of them all. It often looks like care, but slowly poisons you from within. By the end of this video, you'll not only recognize hatred hiding behind politeness, you'll know exactly how to protect your peace before it's shattered. So if you've ever wondered whether someone secretly hates you, this will bring clarity. Subscribe now, and keep walking this stoic path of awareness and strength. Let's begin. Sign number 1. The smile that never reaches their eyes. Hatred rarely clenches its fists. It disguises itself as warmth. Someone greets you. Big smile, friendly words, open tone. But the eyes? They tell a different story. No sparkle, no softness. Just a flat, lifeless stare wearing a mask of politeness. A genuine smile lights up the entire face. The eyes crinkle, the muscles relax, warmth radiates naturally. But when someone hates you, they can fake the mouth, never the eyes. The eyes betray what the heart hides. I saw this unfold at a community event last year. A woman, let's call her Rachel, had just earned a leadership role another colleague deeply wanted. At the celebration, that colleague was the first to congratulate her. Huge smile, warm hug, the perfect picture of grace. But from my angle, I saw the truth. The smile was flawless, yet the eyes were hollow, and the moment Rachel turned away, the mask slipped. For 2 brief seconds, pure contempt flashed across her face before the polite facade returned. Over the next few months, Rachel noticed a pattern. The same colleague was always helpful in meetings, volunteering to assist, offering advice, sharing information. But every helpful gesture came with small traps, missing details, slightly wrong timelines, confusing instructions. Everything looked supportive on the surface, yet quietly pulled Rachel down. That's what hatred understands better than anger ever could. Staying close gives it power. We talked about the smile that never reaches the eyes, the first sign of hidden hatred wrapped in politeness. But here's the danger most people miss. When someone secretly hates you, they don't walk away. They move closer. Anger pushes people away. It demands confrontation and creates distance. But hatred? Hatred pulls you closer. Close enough to observe your every move, to listen to your words, to wait for that single unguarded moment to strike. When someone smiles at you, yet their eyes remain cold, pay attention. Your body is screaming before your mind understands. That mismatch isn't awkwardness or stress. It's a warning your instincts pick up long before logic does. Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." You can't control whether someone hates you, but you can control how you respond. Will you ignore the signals and let them stay close? Or will you keep your distance, quietly protecting your peace? Next time you're in a conversation, observe carefully. When someone smiles, look at their eyes. Do they smile too? If there's a repeated disconnect, if the warmth stops at the mouth while the eyes stay flat, trust what you see. Your gut feeling isn't paranoia. It's pattern recognition, your body's early warning system trying to keep you safe. But a fake smile is only the beginning. Some people don't even bother pretending anymore. They reveal their hatred through cold silence. Sign number 2, the cold silence. When you succeed, anger bursts when you win. Hatred goes silent. You felt this before. You share good news, a promotion, a project you've worked hard on, something that genuinely makes you proud. Most people react with joy, questions, and excitement. But there's always that one person. They pause. Their face goes blank. They mutter something flat like, "That's nice. Good for you." And then, nothing. No curiosity, no questions, no warmth. Just that cold, empty acknowledgement that chills the air around you. Sometimes that silence cuts deeper than any insult ever could. I remember this vividly. About 3 years ago, I finished a project I'd been pouring my energy into for months. At a small gathering, I mentioned it casually, mostly not to brag, just to share. Most people lit up, asked questions, congratulated me. But one person, someone I'd known for years, suddenly stopped mid-conversation, put their drink down and said, "Cool," in the flattest tone I've ever heard. Then, they immediately checked their phone. That one moment told me everything. And over time, the pattern became impossible to ignore. Every time I shared something positive, their energy dropped. Not anger. There was no outburst, no argument. Just this quiet withdrawal, as if my happiness was a noise they couldn't stand. It was like my success was a personal insult they had to endure in silence. What made it even stranger? When they faced struggles, I offered help, genuinely. But every time, they brushed it off coldly. "I'm fine. I got it." As if accepting anything from me would mean admitting something they couldn't bear to face. That's when it hit me. When someone truly hates you, your success doesn't feel separate from them. It feels like their failure. Your achievements become a mirror, showing them everything they lack, or believe you took from them. They can't celebrate you, because doing so would mean acknowledging their own inadequacy. Seneca saw this clearly. Envy is the ulcer of the soul. Hatred often grows from envy. Left unchecked, it festers. It turns sour, turns cold, and becomes something incurable because the person refuses to heal. So pay close attention. Who goes quiet when you share good news? Of course, not everyone will celebrate you. That's normal. But if it's always the same person every single time with that same cold, empty tone, that's not indifference. That's hatred wearing a polite mask. Watch carefully. Who withdraws when you shine? Whose energy fades the moment your life moves forward? Those silent reactions speak louder than words. And they'll tell you exactly who's rooting for your failure while pretending to smile. That's not someone who's neutral about you. That's someone who's secretly rooting against you, quietly hoping your progress slows down. Your spark fades, your energy dims. If you've ever felt someone's energy drop the moment you shared good news, pause for a second. Acknowledge it. Write down below in the comments, "I see it now." Because sometimes, simply naming the pattern is the first step to freeing yourself from it. But some people don't stop there. They go further. They pull away under the gentlest excuse of all. "I'm just really busy." Sign number 3, They're always too busy for you, but never for others. Hatred rarely says, "I don't like you." It says, "I don't have time for you." And yet somehow, that same person always seems to have time for everyone else. You know this pattern. You reach out, send a message, make a call, invite them to coffee or lunch. And the response is always the same. "So swamped right now. Crazy week. Let's catch up soon." But soon never comes. Days turn into weeks, weeks into months. At first, you tell yourself they must really be that busy. But then you see the truth. A tagged photo, a story, a casual mention from a mutual friend. They're out for brunch, attending concerts, going on weekend trips, laughing at dinner tables you're no longer invited to. That's when the mask drops. Their busy excuse reveals itself for what it is. A polite rejection on repeat. A close friend of mine experienced this a couple of years ago. She'd been friends with someone for nearly a decade. Then, after a small disagreement over a business decision, nothing dramatic, just a difference in opinion, things shifted. My friend tried to reconnect several times. She sent thoughtful messages, extended invitations, even reached out just to check in. Every reply was some variation of the same familiar line. "I've just been really busy lately, but let's meet soon." But soon never arrived. And then, the truth surfaced. Photos of her former friend with mutual acquaintances, new workout partners, birthday dinners she wasn't invited to anymore. The story collapsed under its own weight. It wasn't about time. It was about choice. That friend had time, just not for her. Eventually, my friend decided to ask directly, "Hey, are we okay?" The response came back carefully neutral. "Of course, I've just been prioritizing differently." That phrase, prioritizing differently, was the truth dressed in diplomacy. It really meant, you're no longer a priority, and maybe you never will be again. Here's what makes this kind of hidden hatred so insidious. It gives them deniability. They're not being cruel, and they're just busy. They're not rejecting you. They're just overwhelmed. But look closer. Their calendar tells a different story. Their energy for others tells the truth. Their words won't. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You always own the option of having no opinion." So when someone consistently makes time for everyone except you, don't turn it into a story about your worth. It's not about your value. It's about their choice. Believe the information their actions are giving you. If someone repeatedly cancels, delays, or gives vague excuses while you see them engaged with others, stop chasing. You're not being rejected because you're too much. You're being rejected because they've quietly decided they don't want you around. That's not your failure. That's their decision. And you have the right to decide how much energy you'll keep giving to someone who's already decided you don't matter. But not everyone avoids you. Some people stay close. They smile, they laugh with you, and then they strike where it hurts most. That's when the real danger begins. Sign number 4. They bring up your past failures, disguised as jokes. Hatred often hides behind humor. It says the cruelest things, with a laugh. And if you've ever been on the receiving end of that, you know exactly how it feels. You're sitting in a group, maybe friends, co-workers, or family. The conversation is flowing easily, laughter bouncing across the room. Then suddenly someone brings it up. That moment, you'd rather everyone forget. The mistake, the failure, the embarrassment you thought was long buried. They frame it as a joke. Everyone chuckles awkwardly. You force a smile, pretending it doesn't sting. And then when your expression falters even slightly, they say, "Come on, I'm just kidding. Don't take it so seriously." But you know it wasn't a joke. It was a reminder. A public reminder that they haven't forgotten your lowest moment, and they want to make sure everyone else remembers it too. I know someone who went through this for years. Let's call him Daniel. About 3 years ago, Daniel had a business that failed. publicly, painfully, and expensively. It broke him for a while, but he rebuilt. He learned from it, regained his footing, and began again. But one person in his circle never let it go. Every time Daniel mentioned a new idea, a new project, or something he was excited about, that person would bring it up again. Another business idea? Remember the last one? Cue the laughter, a friendly pat on the back. Just kidding, man. You know I'm just teasing. Everyone laughed, including Daniel. But each time you could see a little more of his confidence fade. That kind of laughter doesn't feel playful. It feels like being cut with a dull knife. Slow, repeated, and always in the same spot. The breaking point came at Daniel's own birthday dinner. He'd invited a few new friends, people who didn't know about his past failure. But that same person saw an opportunity. He told the entire story at the table, twisting it into something funny, making Daniel the punchline, and ending it with a grin. But hey, Daniel's resilient. He needs to be. The table burst out laughing. Daniel smiled too, but something shifted in that moment. A quiet understanding. A truth that can't be unseen. He finally realized, real friends don't weaponize your past. They protect it. They know your weakest moments and guard them, especially in public, especially in front of people who don't know your full story. That person wasn't joking. He was undermining. Every tease was a small cut, designed to keep Daniel's confidence in check, to remind him and everyone else that he'd failed before and could fail again. Epictetus once taught, don't explain your philosophy, embody it. You don't owe explanations to people who refuse to let your past rest. Let your present success be your answer. Pay close attention to who keeps bringing up your old failures, disguised as humor. Once might be careless, twice is a pattern. 3 times? That's a strategy. Because when someone repeatedly digs into your past, pulling out your lowest moments and displaying them for an audience, they're not reminiscing. They're reminding. Reminding you and everyone else of where you fell so you never forget it. When that happens, call it out calmly. Say, that's behind me. I've moved on. If they stop, maybe it was thoughtless. But if they keep doing it, the message is crystal clear. They don't want you to move on. They want you stuck there, forever defined by your past mistake. And if you're starting to recognize these patterns in your own life, you're not imagining it. Stay with me. We're only halfway through this journey, and the next signs grow even darker. Sign number 5. They offer help, then quietly sabotage. This is where hatred becomes truly dangerous. It stretches out a helping hand while sharpening a knife behind its back. You felt this before. Someone offers to help, genuinely eager, smiling, sincere. You feel relief, trust, even gratitude. You let them in. Then things start to unravel. Small mistakes, tiny misunderstandings, delays that turn into chaos. And when you finally confront them, they look shocked. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I thought you meant... The apology sounds heartfelt. You almost feel guilty for doubting them. But then it happens again. And again, that's not coincidence. That's a plan disguised as kindness. We saw how hatred can disguise itself as kindness, offering help while secretly causing harm. But now we move deeper, into a kind of betrayal that's harder to spot. Because it looks like teamwork until it quietly ruins you. Their help doesn't help. It consistently makes things worse. I once watched this play out in a previous workplace, and it destroyed a good man's reputation. There was a guy, let's call him Steven, who was preparing a major client presentation. The stakes were high, the deadline tight, the pressure heavy. A colleague stepped in and offered to help with the data analysis section. This colleague was known for being meticulous, reliable, the numbers guy. Steven felt relieved. Finally, someone he could trust. He sent over clear instructions, double-checked the details, and felt confident walking into the big day. When presentation day arrived, Stephen stood before the client and opened the slide deck. The data section looked clean, professional, but as soon as the numbers appeared on screen, something felt off. The projections were slightly inflated. The percentages didn't quite add up. Not by much. Just enough to make Stephen look careless. The client noticed immediately. The room went cold. That invisible shift in the air. The quiet disappointment that says, "You just lost credibility." Right there, the colleague jumped in, devastated. Apologetic, hands raised in shock. "Oh my God. Stephen, I'm so sorry. I completely misread your email. This is all on me. I take full responsibility." He apologized in front of everyone. He looked sincere, maybe even heartbroken. Stephen, embarrassed but composed, took the blame as a leader would. Mistakes happen. It was unfortunate, but he moved on. Weeks later, though, a former team member pulled Stephen aside. They mentioned something strange. The exact same thing had happened to the previous person who'd held Stephen's position. The same colleague had offered to help. The same critical mistake had occurred. The same heartfelt apology had followed. A pattern had emerged, too perfect to be coincidence. And that's what makes this kind of hatred so effective. It comes with built-in deniability. "I was just trying to help." You can't accuse someone of sabotage when they're apologizing. They look remorseful, even noble, the helpful coworker who made an honest mistake. Meanwhile, you take the hit. Your credibility suffers, and they walk away looking like the responsible one who owned up. Marcus Aurelius understood this kind of test well. He wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." In other words, what's meant to block you can actually reveal the truth and redirect you toward strength. Their sabotage exposes their nature. Don't ignore that. Watch for this pattern in your own life. If someone offers help and things consistently go wrong, pay attention. Once, it's a mistake. Twice, it's concerning. 3 times, and it's a strategy. Stop accepting their help. It doesn't matter how sincere the apology sounds. Trust patterns, not words. When someone's assistance repeatedly hurts you more than it helps, they're not clumsy. They're calculated. This isn't incompetence, it's intent. But there's an even colder form of hatred. Because sabotage takes effort, it requires action. Some people don't bother lifting a finger. They simply watch you struggle and do nothing. Sign number 6. They watch you struggle and do nothing. Hatred doesn't always push you down. Sometimes it just watches you drown and quietly enjoys the view. You're in crisis. The deadline's closing in. The stress is visible. Your hands are shaking as you try to fix the problem. And there's someone nearby. Someone who has the exact knowledge or resource that could help. They know it. You know it. But they just watch, sometimes with a blank expression, sometimes with the faintest hint of a smile. No offer to help. No check-in. Just silent observation. As if your pain is background entertainment, that indifference is the cruelty. A former colleague once told me about this exact experience. She was leading a product launch when a major technical failure hit. The system crashed just hours before a live demo to investors. The pressure was unbearable. She was panicking, troubleshooting desperately, asking everyone nearby for ideas, and there was someone on her team, let's call him Brian, who had solved this exact problem before. Everyone knew he'd written the documentation for it. He could have fixed it in minutes, but Brian sat at his desk just 15 feet away, typing calmly on something else. Occasionally glancing over, watching her scramble, he didn't need to say a word. His silence said it all. We saw how hatred can disguise itself as inaction, someone watching you drown while pretending to respect your independence. But as we're about to see, silence isn't always innocent. Sometimes it's a form of cruelty all on its own. He sat there, silent, unmoved, while chaos unfolded around him. Finally, another team member noticed and asked directly, "Hey, Brian, didn't you fix this same issue last quarter? Can you help her out?" Brian looked up slowly, almost startled, as if he hadn't even realized what was happening. "Oh, is that still going on?" I figured she wanted to handle it herself. Didn't want to step on her toes. The excuse was perfect. Respectful, polite, even thoughtful on the surface. But the truth was far darker, because when my colleague finally got help from someone else and fixed the issue, just in time, another teammate noticed something subtle. Brian's expression. It wasn't relief. It was disappointment. Barely noticeable, but unmistakable to anyone paying attention, and in that single moment, everything became clear. Brian hadn't been respecting her independence. He'd been hoping she would fail. Her panic wasn't background noise. It was entertainment. His silence wasn't courtesy. It was pleasure in disguise. When someone watches you struggle, even though they have the power to help, they're not giving you space to grow. They're waiting for you to break. A person who holds the solution but chooses to withhold it isn't staying out of your way. They're rooting against you. Silently. Deliberately. Seneca once wrote, "A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials. Yes, your struggles will strengthen you, but their indifference will reveal who they truly are." So pay attention. Notice who offers a hand when you're drowning, and who just stands on the shore, watching the waves close over you. Because the ones who watch aren't neutral. They're hoping the water wins, and when you survive anyway, when you solve the problem without them, look at their face. Genuine people will feel relief, but those who secretly hate you will look robbed. That flicker of disappointment when you succeed. That's hatred showing its true face. If these signs feel uncomfortably familiar, don't ignore that feeling. You're beginning to see people for who they really are, and the truth is about to get darker. Sign number 7. They subtly poison others against you. Hatred doesn't always confront you directly. It whispers. It spreads. It infects others one conversation at a time. At first, you just notice small shifts. People who were once warm start turning distant. Colleagues grow cautious. Friends take longer to reply. Invitations stop coming. You haven't changed. You're still showing up the same way. Kind, respectful, professional. But somehow the air around you feels colder. The room feels heavier. Something has changed, and you don't know why. Then one day someone finally tells you, "Hey, I thought you should know. Someone's been talking. Not openly attacking that, but that would be too obvious." No, this kind of hatred works quietly. It whispers through concern. It wears a mask of care. I don't want to gossip, but I'm worried about them. And just like that, poison enters the room, disguised as empathy. This happened to someone close to me a few years ago. Let's call her Maria. She and a longtime friend had a disagreement over a business decision. Nothing explosive, no shouting, no bitterness, just two different visions for a shared project. They agreed to part ways professionally, and Maria thought that was the end. But over the next few months, something felt off. Their mutual friends started acting differently. Less warm, less open, more guarded. Invitations to group events quietly stopped. Conversations grew shorter. Maria couldn't figure out what she'd done wrong, until one day, a brave friend finally told her the truth. That former friend had been running a silent campaign, one quiet conversation at a time, always starting with the same line, "I don't want to gossip, but I'm really worried about Maria." Then came the twist. Stories retold, reshaped, reframed. Maria's smart business choices were described as reckless. Her confidence was painted as arrogance. Her ambition became ruthlessness. Every comment was carefully phrased, never overtly cruel, just concerned. And that's what made it brilliant and dangerous. because the poison didn't sound like gossip. It sounded like care. We saw how hatred can whisper, turning concern into poison, transforming care into control. And as Maria learned the hard way, some of the most dangerous attacks don't come from loud enemies, but from quiet, worried friends. People in that circle didn't think they were hearing gossip. They thought they were hearing a caring friend sharing legitimate concerns. By the time Maria found out what was happening, the damage was done. Her reputation within that community had been quietly dismantled, piece by piece, conversation by conversation. And that's what makes this form of hatred so powerful. It wears concern as camouflage. I'm just worried about them. Sounds noble, sounds compassionate, but beneath it lies something colder. The goal isn't to help you. It's to isolate you, to turn your circle against you without leaving any fingerprints. Marcus Aurelius understood this dynamic centuries ago when he wrote, "How much more grievous are the consequences of anger than the causes of it? Their campaign doesn't just reveal their words, it reveals their character. What they say about you tells you nothing about who you are, but how they say it and why tells you everything about who they are." So if you start to notice subtle social shifts, people pulling away, conversations feeling colder, invitations slowing down, don't just blame yourself. Ask a trusted friend directly. Has anyone said anything about me? Real friends will tell you the truth. And when they do, you have a choice. Address it once, calmly and clearly. Then let your actions speak louder than their whispers. Or walk away entirely. Build new circles with people who verify before they believe. Because someone who poisons your reputation while pretending to care about you isn't concerned. They're calculated. But even character assassination has limits. Some people don't just want to hurt your name. They want to keep the wound open forever. Sign number 2. They never forget and never forgive. Anger fades. Eventually it forgives. But hatred? Hatred keeps a ledger. You may have wronged them once. Or maybe they only think you did. It doesn't matter how long ago it was. You apologized. You changed. You grew. You assumed they moved on too. But they didn't. They remember every detail, every word, every moment. They'll remind you sometimes years later with surgical precision. Why? Because they never let it. They feed, revisit, nurture it, keeping it alive like a fire they refuse to put out. I knew 2 brothers, close for decades, practically inseparable. The older one, Peter, missed his younger brother's college graduation 8 years ago. A sudden overseas work emergency, unavoidable. Peter apologized repeatedly, sent a thought called the day of the ceremony. Brother said, "It's fine. I understand. Work is work, but it wasn't fine because every family." The younger brother found subtle ways when Peter got a promotion. Well, you've always prioritized work over family. When Peter announced his engagement, glad you made time for this one. Wouldn't want you to miss another big day. Always said to be smart. Always just light enough to wanting to make peace, he asked his brother to be the godfather. A gesture of love and reconciliation. His brother's reply, "I wouldn't want to accept that honor and then miss his life because of work. You know, like you did with me." Peter had apologized countless times. He'd changed jobs to create better balance. He'd been present for every family gathering since, but none of it mattered, because the ledger stayed open. The debt was never paid, because forgiveness was never offered. That's what hatred does. It refuses release. Forgiveness is letting go, allowing both people to move forward, letting the wound close. But hatred is retention. It holds on. It feeds on pain. It keeps the wound alive, turning it into a weapon. They don't want resolution. They want you to hurt. For as long as they do, your growth doesn't matter. Your change doesn't count. Because hatred isn't interested in healing. It's only interested in holding the knife. We saw how hatred can keep a ledger, holding on to old pain long after forgiveness was possible. But when that bitterness grows unchecked, it eventually becomes something colder, a hatred that no longer wants resolution. It simply wants you gone. To them, the mistake you made 5, 10, or even 15 years ago will always define who you are. It doesn't matter how much you've changed. In their eyes, you're frozen in time, forever the person who disappointed them once. Epictetus taught, any person capable of angering you becomes your master. If someone refuses to forgive despite your genuine effort and growth, they've chosen to stay chained to the past. They become both your prisoner and their own. You can't force forgiveness. You can apologize. You can evolve, transform, prove through years of consistent change, and they may still refuse to see it. That's their choice, not your failure. What you can control is whether you keep exhausting yourself trying to earn forgiveness from someone who has already decided never to give it. Sometimes the healthiest thing you can do isn't another apology. It's forgiving yourself and walking away from someone who insists on living in yesterday, because keeping a ledger is still a calculated act. But the next stage, the final sign, is when hatred stops calculating at all. It no longer wants balance or revenge. It just wants erasure. Sign number 9, they want you gone. Completely. Anger wants you to change. Hatred wants you to disappear. This is hatred at its purest form, stripped of pretense, stripped of performance, a cold desire for your complete removal. Not from a single project, not from one conversation, but from every shared space. Your job, your friend group, your family gatherings, even your community. They don't want you better. They don't want you different. They want you erased. And the worst part? They'll work quietly to make it happen. I once heard this from a woman whose sister-in-law made her life unbearable for 3 years. She had married into a close-knit family. At first, the sister-in-law was warm, polite, even welcoming. But after a small disagreement at a holiday dinner, something trivial, a minor clash about parenting, everything changed. The sister-in-law began a slow campaign. She suggested that certain family gatherings should be just for blood relatives. She planned family trips on weekends she knew the woman couldn't attend. Then she acted disappointed afterward, saying to her brother, the woman's husband, "Your wife is changing you. Maybe you two need some space from the family to figure things out." The woman tried everything. She apologized. She offered to talk. She went out of her way to be kind at every family event. But nothing worked, because the sister-in-law's goal wasn't peace. It was elimination. Finally, after years of tension, the husband confronted his sister directly and asked, "What do you actually want?" Her answer was chilling in its calmness. "I don't want her at family events. She doesn't belong here. This is our family, not hers. No shouting, no anger, just cold, emotionless certainty." She didn't hate her sister-in-law's choices, her opinions, or her mistakes. She hated her existence, her very presence in that family space. And that's what this final sign reveals. When someone actively tries to remove you from shared spaces, to erase your presence entirely, they don't hate what you've done. They hate who you are. Your apologies are irrelevant. Your effort doesn't matter. They've decided you don't deserve to exist in their world. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." Their hatred defines them, not you. Their desire to erase you says everything about their emptiness. and nothing about your worth. So if someone is working to push you out, from work, from friendships, from family, don't waste your strength fighting to stay where you're not wanted. Protect your peace. Build your life in spaces where your presence is valued, not merely tolerated. Their rejection isn't proof that you lack value. It's proof of their limited capacity for love. You can't change someone who wants you gone. You can only refuse to shrink yourself to fit into spaces that were never meant to hold you. These 9 signs reveal what polite words often hide. The cold eyes behind warm smiles, the silence that greets your success, the help that sabotages, the jokes that wound, and the concern that poisons. Hatred rarely announces itself. It calculates. It smiles. It waits. Marcus Aurelius said it best. The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. You can't control whether someone hates you, but you can control whether you ignore the warning signs and allow them close enough to harm you. So when you see these patterns, don't doubt your instinct. Trust it. Step back, not with anger, but with clarity, because hatred waits, but wisdom walks away. If this message brought you clarity, write "I see it now" below, and subscribe to keep choosing wisdom over reaction. Stay grounded, stay stoic.